So we just learned that Jeffrey Clark, a former high-up Department of Justice official, is preparing to plead the Fifth. Friends, this is a good development. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. Boy, is the House Select Committee investigation heating up. You know, if the investigation were an action movie, well, it's kind of like we just entered the car chase scene. Because we just learned that a former high-up Department of Justice official, Jeffrey Clark, is preparing to plead the Fifth, invoke his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. I first heard about it via this tweet from CNN's Ryan Nobles. New 1-6 Chair Benny G. Thompson tells us that the attorney for former DOJ official Jeffrey Clark, who's set to be referred for criminal contempt tonight, sent the committee a letter telling them that Clark may invoke his Fifth Amendment right, which prompted me to immediately retweet and add, given that Clark was in a criminal conspiracy with Trump and others to commit crimes against the United States, and he, Clark, committed an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy by drafting and circulating the letter to Georgia state officials, if anyone has a reason to plead the Fifth, Clark does. And friends, not that it's any great shakes, but I've been predicting that Jeffrey Clark's only play was to plead the Fifth. Ever since a couple of weeks ago, when he made that sham appearance, that show appearance before the House Select Committee, he got a subpoena, and rather than failing to show up altogether like the Bannons and the Mark Meadows of the world, he showed up. And then he put on a performance, lots of bluff and bluster, and then he stormed out without having testified. Maybe he thought that by showing up, he would avoid being held in contempt and being referred for prosecution. Come on now, Jeffrey. You're a lawyer. You know better than that. So why is Jeffrey Clark's testimony so important? Well, remember, in a nutshell, Jeffrey Clark was a high-up Department of Justice official who participated in a meeting with Donald Trump when Donald Trump was getting desperate to find a way to overturn the election results because he lost badly. And recall the reporting that DOJ officials told the president there's no fraud undermining the election. And Donald Trump told his DOJ officials, doesn't matter. Just say there was fraud and leave the rest to me and my allies in Congress. And Jeffrey Clark took him up on it and joined the conspiracy to commit offenses against the United States. The conspiracy to try to corruptly overturn the results of a presidential election. The seditious conspiracy, the conspiracy to participate in a rebellion and an insurrection. Take your pick of crimes that Jeffrey Clark committed, because what he did after Donald Trump enlisted him in the conspiracy is he went back to the Department of Justice and he drafted letters to the battleground states. We saw the one that he drafted and circulated that he intended to send to Georgia state election officials, giving them a blueprint for how to corruptly overturn the presidential election results. So Jeffrey Clark not only joined the conspiracy with Donald Trump, but he helpfully committed an overt act. That is, he did something that was designed to move the conspiracy forward. He committed an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. So yes, Jeffrey Clark most certainly has a Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, and this is his only play. So where do things go from here? Well, if he invokes his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, then we will begin discussing in earnest the question of immunity. Should Congress grant him immunity and force him, compel him to testify? Because when you're granted immunity, basically that is a guarantee that anything you say can't be used against you. You can't have those statements introduced against you, for example, in a criminal prosecution. We're going to talk more about the upside, the downside, the ins and the outs of immunity, particularly congressional immunity, in a future video, because I predict that issue will be front and center the moment Jeffrey Clark formally invokes his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. But here is what I believe is most important based on this development. Jeffrey Clark, a high DOJ official, pleading the Fifth. When you plead the Fifth, you are virtually announcing to the world, if I were to testify truthfully, I would be incriminating myself. I would be admitting to crimes. In Jeffrey Clark's case, it would be crimes against the United States, trying to, at its core, overthrow our democracy. So with a high DOJ official virtually announcing that he committed crimes against the United States, which is why he's pleading the Fifth, the Department of Justice must criminally investigate Jeffrey Clark. I contend that they should be criminally investigating everyone from Donald Trump on down to the foot soldiers of the insurrection and everybody in between. And I strongly suspect the Department of Justice is investigating all of these things. But now this seals the deal, because can you imagine the Department of Justice saying, let's see, one of our former high officials is invoking his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, virtually announcing to the world he committed crimes against the United States. But you know what? We're not going to bother criminally investigating that. Are you kidding me? DOJ must investigate this and must hold accountable Jeffrey Clark and everybody up and down the criminal food chain who was involved in trying to corruptly overturn the election's results. Friends, it feels like the balance is shifting. It feels like things are tilting toward justice. And the House Select Committee has been doing enormously, historically important work. And now I would say to the Department of Justice, let's roll, because justice matters. Friends, as always, thank you for tuning in to these daily videos. If you'd like to more formally support our all-volunteer efforts here at Justice Matters, we post a video every day, 7 days a week, and our operation is an all-volunteer operation. Feel free to go over to patreon.com. You can sign up to become a patron and a Team Justice member proper. And if you do, I will send you some Team Justice stickers and a personal handwritten note of thanks. And as always, friends, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.